What if the biggest obstacle to your leadership success isn't the system, the role, or the organization, but an invisible belief you've been carrying for years? Welcome to Coaching Talks, folks. This is where we explore practical leadership growth for the real world of work. And today's conversation focuses on overcoming self-limiting beliefs and identifying the inner barriers that quietly restrict confidence, decision-making, and leadership presence. Now, before we go any further, if you find values in these conversations, please take a moment to subscribe. It helps support the channel and ensures that you never miss an episode in strengthening your leadership skills. Now, what are self-limiting beliefs anyway? Well, self-limiting beliefs are internal narratives that influence behavior without conscious permission. They often sound reasonable, cautious, or even responsible. In leadership, these beliefs shape how leaders show up, speak up, delegate, and take risks. Left unexamined, though, they restrict potential long before external limits appear. Leadership is not just about the skill sets, it's about our mindset. Two people with equal competence can perform very differently depending on what they believe about themselves. The leader who believes growth is possible adapts. The leader who believes ability is fixed avoids exposure and challenges. Now, as I pointed out in this week's article on overcoming self-limiting beliefs, these beliefs are conclusions formed through experience, comparison, fear, or past failure. When these beliefs go unexamined, they quietly dictate decisions in business, work, and life, shaping what people attempt, avoid, or abandon. The link to this article is in the description below. The first step in dismantling self-limiting beliefs is awareness. Beliefs often surface as hesitation, avoidance, or over-preparation. And when you delay decisions, decline opportunities, or remain silent in meetings, a belief is often operating beneath the surface. The second step is to overcome limiting beliefs. And so let's talk about all of that. First, let's look at the common beliefs that leaders may hold. One common leadership belief is, I need to be perfect to be respected. Now, this belief leads to micromanaging, stress, and reluctance to delegate. In reality, trust is built on consistency and normality and not perfection. A second belief is, I am not leadership material. Now, this belief often surfaces among high-performing individuals who are promoted into manager-leader roles. Leadership is a set of behaviors and skills that can be learned, practiced, and refined. A third belief is conflict should be avoided at all costs. Leaders holding this belief often delay difficult conversations. Avoidance feels safer, but unresolved issues will continue to grow. Healthy conflict handled respectfully strengthens teams and builds credibility. A fourth belief is, if I don't have all the answers, I lose authority. Now, effective leaders model learning. Authority grows when leaders ask thoughtful questions and invite collaboration rather than pretending to be certain. A fifth belief is hard work alone will be noticed. While effort matters, so do visibility, collaboration, coordination, and communication. Leaders must be able to articulate value, progress, and outcomes to influence effectively. A sixth belief is, I must handle everything myself. Now, this belief leads to stress, burnout, and bottlenecks. Delegation isn't about abdication. It's about taking responsibility for developing others and keeping focus on what matters most. A seventh belief is, failure will permanently damage my reputation. In reality, thoughtful risk-taking signals courage. Leaders are evaluated more by how they recover than by whether they stumble. So mistakes become learning opportunities rather than career-ending crashes. Now, if you hold these beliefs, how do you overcome them? Well, here are 5 ways to do just that. First, once beliefs are identified, leaders should resist them. For instance, leaders can ask, is this belief always true? Where did it originate? What evidence contradicts it? Challenging beliefs weakens their hold on the leader. Secondly, replace each limiting belief with more accurate, growth-oriented one. I must be perfect becomes I must be clear and consistent. I'm not leadership material becomes leadership skills are developed through practice. Thirdly, change behaviors that reinforce and strengthen confidence. Leaders must act before confidence shows up. So if leaders take small incremental steps, they will build the confidence necessary and so that the new belief is valid. Let's consider a couple of examples of how this can play out in the workplace. A mid-level manager avoided presenting ideas to the senior leadership team because she feared they would judge her. And after coaching, she committed to sharing one idea per meeting. And over time, her visibility increased, her confidence grew, and her influence expanded. Another example is a leader who struggled with delegation and believed quality would suffer. He felt he was the best person to operationalize a project. However, by intentionally delegating the project and setting clear expectations, he found that team performance improved and the team was more fully engaged. Now let's get back to overcoming self-limiting beliefs. The fourth way for leaders to overcome self-limiting beliefs concerns the influence of organizational culture. Organizations that reward learning, feedback, and development help dismantle limiting beliefs. How does this impact a leader's belief system? Well, in an open culture, new leaders can set the tone by responding to mistakes and challenges in a positive and helpful way. Now, the fifth way is for leaders to be aware of the practices that support belief change. For instance, reflection, feedback, and coaching provide mirrors that the leaders cannot create on their own. I have found that leaders' growth accelerates when they remain curious and open rather than defensive and limiting in their beliefs. The most effective leaders understand that the mindset work is ongoing. New roles bring new beliefs. So leaders need to be cautious when moving into new roles as each transition invites a reevaluation of their belief system. Now let's wrap up this podcast. Your call to action today is simple, yet very powerful. Identify one belief that limits your leadership effectiveness. Write it down and challenge its accuracy. Then replace it with a more constructive belief. Then take one leadership action this week that aligns with that new belief. Leadership does not require a dramatic transformation overnight. It requires consistent and self-examination and courageous action. When inner barriers fall, leadership capacity expands. Now, you are not limited by your title, background, or past experiences. You are limited only by the beliefs left unquestioned. So choose growth, choose clarity, choose to lead beyond limits. Now, thank you for taking the time to participate in this conversation. Your comments are always welcomed, and I respond to each of them. And remember to subscribe, like, and refer this podcast to a leader who might be struggling with self-limiting beliefs. Oh, and remember that we have 3 podcasts a week. On Mondays, we look at business and work and life from a gospel and universal values perspective. And on Wednesdays, we turn our attention to leadership in the workplace, just like this one. And on Fridays, we cover affiliate marketing. So I hope you can join us on the day that works best for you. Now, thank you for joining me today. I'm Richard Fontanie. See you next week, if not before. Bye now.